promised. I'm taking this house. Now get out, you parasites. I've heard many sarcastic remarks before, but being called a parasite is new. It's not something you say to someone, especially not to their son or daughter-in-law. You're the one who ruined my son, you parasite. I never thought I'd hear that from my mother-in-law, but if she feels that way, so be it. I have my own thoughts on the matter. Understood. I will leave by the end of today. Now it's our turn. Revenge comes around to everyone equally, after all. My name is Sarah Caldwell. I am 35 years old and married. I don't have children, but I spend every day happily with my beloved husband. My husband's name is Keith Caldwell. He is also 35 years old. We met at the fashion school we both attended. I fell for his gentle and kind nature and pursued him vigorously. We started dating and got married the following year. We often talked about someday starting our own company when we first started dating, and now it's become a reality and an important job for me. Right after graduating from school, we started our own apparel company. In the beginning, things weren't going smoothly and we worried if we could really make it, but we utilized each other's strengths and covered each other's weaknesses and gradually made progress. While I'm not good with my hands and focus on designing clothes, my handy husband creates the garments. We then take the finished products and head out for sales, explaining the value of the product over and over to secure contracts. Before we knew it, job offers increased as if our earlier struggles were just a lie. Now we even get offers from other companies and have been featured in magazines. The company has grown, and we now employ around 30 people. As the president of the company, I lead a busy life every day. What's regrettable is that I can't work alongside my husband. Keith has a chronic illness and has been frail since childhood, making it impossible for him to work long hours. So we discussed and decided that I would work while Keith would take care of household chores. Keith is skillful with his hands and can handle all aspects of housework. Especially when it comes to cooking, his skills are professional level. Although it's just a hobby, I wonder where he acquired such skills. I sometimes ask myself if this is okay as a wife, but I have my responsibilities, so I stay focused. I'm home.
Welcome back, Sarah. Dinner is ready. Do you want to take a bath first?
Maybe I will. Returning home, a relaxed life awaits us. This is our secret to happiness. Moreover, the luxury 4-room apartment we live in feels like our status symbol. Living in such a place feels like a dream. It's all thanks to our relentless efforts over the years. But one day, something unpleasant happened. Ding dong.
Yes?
Hello, I've come for my freeloading little brother. Great. My sister-in-law has arrived.
Welcome, sis. But didn't I tell you to let us know before you come?
What? Is there a problem if I drop by unannounced? Welcome, sis. Please, make yourself at home. Huh? How can you say something so insincere? That's why I dislike you. Always has such a disagreeable vibe. If she wasn't Keith's older sister, I would have cut ties with her a long time ago. This woman is my husband's older sister, Olivia Caldwell. At 45, she's still single. Living at her parents' house, she's enjoying an unemployed life. She always says things like, I'll marry a rich man and we'll have a luxurious life. But who knows when that will ever happen? After all, what man would like such a selfish, self-centered person? She always says she gets hit on by lots of guys, which is definitely a lie. She really should face reality. But considering her overprotective parents, maybe that's too much to ask. This sister-in-law of mine comes to see us often, or rather, she just comes to throw shade at me. I'm not sure if it's her way of venting, but it's tough being criticized all the time. Hey Sarah, when will you start doing the household chores? It's ridiculous for a wife to make her husband do all the chores. I've told you many times, that's our decision. Shut up! Stop making pointless excuses. I can't bear to see my dear little brother suffering doing chores every day. I know she doesn't really think that, but every time she comes over, she nitpicks about everything. That's why I try to go out whenever she visits. But lately, she seems to have caught on and comes over unexpectedly, just to make snide remarks. By the way, you've been living here for a year now, right?
Yes, so?
I felt a bit uneasy about her words at that moment. I have a bad feeling about this. Yes, we have. Why? I thought it might be a good time now. A good time? I was puzzled by her words. I'm going to live here.
What?
What? Why? My husband and I were stunned by her unbelievable statement, but she didn't care and started to look around the room, saying how much she liked this and that. After checking out the whole place, she said, I really like this apartment. I'll be back, and left. After she left, we sat on the sofa stunned by what had just happened. A week later, while I was at work, my husband called. It was the first time Keith had called me during work hours. I was surprised to get a call from you, Keith. What happened?
Sis is here.
True to her words, my sister-in-law had arrived. She seemed to have brought a lot of her belongings, and my husband said he was being made to help her unpack. Is she really planning to live here?
I think so.
Feeling anxious, I decided to leave work early and rush home. 15 minutes later, when I arrived in front of the apartment building, I could see a crowd gathering around the 5th floor. Wait, is that? Immediately, I got on the elevator and headed for the 5th floor. And then... What? What's this? Exiting the elevator, I saw our neighbors gathered around. I couldn't see what was going on from where I stood, but it was clear something was happening in our apartment. Suddenly, a voice shouted angrily from deeper inside. Come on, Keith. I told you that this is where it goes, didn't I? You haven't been using that room, have you? I'm turning it into my dressing room, so clean it up. More importantly, when is that wife of yours coming back? Honestly, she's so useless. It was my sister-in-law's voice. Pushing through the crowd, I saw my husband, Keith, overwhelmed with bags at the open door, and my sister-in-law standing like a guard giving him orders. The other residents were staring at the two of them with bewilderment. I told them the reason and made my way through. Sis, what are you doing? Olivia noticed my presence. You're finally back. Since you weren't here, I had Keith do it. As you can see, he looks like he's about to cry from exhaustion. Poor Keith. If he hadn't married you, this wouldn't have happened. He totally married the wrong person. Why is she acting so high and mighty when she's the cause of all this chaos? If she hadn't decided to live here, this wouldn't have happened. My anger surged at her selfishness when suddenly there was a loud thud. Keith? Keith? Oh dear, he's fainted. It's all your fault. My husband has a weak constitution, and you knew that. Yet you overworked him. How can you even say that? I clenched my fists in response to her unbelievable remarks. From the back of the crowd, the manager approached.
Excuse me, Mrs. Caldwell. What's all this commotion about? We've received complaints from the neighbors.
I'm so sorry. We'll wrap this up immediately. Before I could finish, my sister-in-law chimed in. I'm sorry, manager. My brother and his wife are a bit naive, causing trouble for others. I'm truly sorry. I'll reprimand them later. Please forgive them for my sake. What? Why are we being painted as villains? The manager responded.
Well, if you're saying that, Mrs. Caldwell, you should be grateful to your sister. This kind of disturbance is troublesome.
Despite doing nothing wrong, we were unfairly blamed. My frustration grew. Stop standing there and clean this up. Such a useless daughter-in-law. I moved my collapsed husband to bed and then quickly tidied up my sister-in-law's belongings. About an hour later, Keith woke up.
Sarah, I'm sorry. I should have been the one to handle it.
I'm fine. Are you okay? Keith had a faint memory of what happened.
I'm sorry, Sarah. It's so embarrassing that I fainted again,
he said, trying to help despite his condition. It's okay. Just rest for now. I'll handle my sister. Only replying with a sorry to my words, he immediately went to the bedroom and lay down on the bed. Relieved that my husband wasn't severely injured, I was interrupted with, How long are you going to tend to Keith? Hurry up and finish cleaning over here. I silently continued to clear the massive amount of remaining luggage. Finally, done. Once the cleaning was over, I checked the clock and it was past 3 in the morning. Rubbing my sleepy eyes, I stepped onto the balcony and aimlessly gazed at the dimly lit city. What am I even doing? It's cold. I should go to bed. The next day when I woke up, my husband wasn't beside me. Instead, I heard noises from outside the bedroom.
Good morning. Did you sleep well?
As always, my husband had woken up early, done the laundry, and was preparing breakfast. How are you feeling? Are you okay now?
Yeah, thanks to you, Sarah, I slept soundly last night. But I'm more worried about you.
He had noticed how I had been used and bossed around by my sister-in-law. With a gentle tone, he acknowledged how tough it had been for me. After tidying up the luggage my sister-in-law brought, I cleaned the bathroom. Then, upon her complaint of a dirty toilet, I cleaned that as well. Meanwhile, she sat on the sofa, leisurely, sipping her wine. Yesterday was truly a terrible day. While I was appreciating my understanding husband, our sister-in-law awoke, evidently disturbed by our noise. "Keep it down, you two!" she yelled as if she owned the place. What a way to start such a refreshing morning. Both my husband and I had puzzled expressions. Suddenly she said, "By the way, when are you two leaving?" "What do you mean by leaving? This is our house, right?" "Our house? Wrong. This will be a house for me, Dad, and Mom." "What? What's she talking about?" "Dad and Mom are eager to live here. They're so excited that they even told the neighbors about it. They must be really thrilled." I couldn't believe it. She planned to kick us out and live here with my in-laws. We haven't visited my husband's parents for years. They, including my sister-in-law, opposed our marriage until the end, leading to a terrible relationship. After our wedding, nothing changed, and they practically cut us off. Despite this, she's trying to bend the situation in her favor. I won't let her. At that moment, I made a decision. I'll make her regret this. That night, when I returned from work, my husband informed me that Olivia was out. She wasn't home, and this was our chance. "Hey, I have an idea." My husband listened intently, nodding.
Is it going to work? What if it fails?
"Trust me, it'll definitely work." The next day, we began our preparations. When I was at work, Keith took over, and when my sister-in-law was out, we worked together. Little by little, we diligently prepared for the impending showdown. A few days later, my sister-in-law went to her parents' house. "It's today."
Yeah, finally.
My sister-in-law will bring her parents here. That's the start of our plan. And a few hours later, "Come on in. This is our new home."
This is incredible. It's so different from our old home.
"Really, it feels like a dream to think that such a spacious and beautiful place will be our home." The three of them look around the room without even greeting us. They really have no manners. My husband looks at them with a sad expression. Seeing him like that makes me feel sad too. Suddenly, "Just as promised, we'll take this house. You parasites, get out." We've been insulted before, but being called parasites, it's not something you say to someone, especially not to their son or daughter-in-law. "You ruined my son, you parasite." I never thought she would say something like that. But if that's how it's going to be, so be it. I have my own plans. Understood. We'll leave by today then. Now it's our turn. Revenge comes around to everyone equally. I expected the sister-in-law and her parents would act like this, and we were already prepared. That very day, we left the apartment and took refuge at my parents' house. While my in-laws were against our marriage, my parents were more than happy for us. My husband gets along well with them, and even helps with household chores. Seeing this, my father commented,
Young people these days do household chores. When I was young, I left all the housework to your mother.
"Well, that's old-fashioned now. Many families have both partners working, and many husbands are doing household chores too." My father, fascinated, remarked how times have changed. "Since coming to my parents' house, we've been able to live a calm and comforting life. It makes the life we had before feel suffocating." Then one day, my husband received a picture from my sister-in-law on his phone, a photo of the three of them smiling with the city lights in the background from the balcony. At a glance, it looks like a lovely family photo, but for us, it's just filled with disgust. Seeing the photo, my parents had the same expression of disapproval. It seems my sister-in-law and her parents would really like that apartment. You can tell they would, wouldn't they? It's one of the most luxurious apartments around, with great comfort, a beautiful view from the balcony, and stylish interiors. The only downside is the high rent of $3,000. But even with that, there's no reason not to choose that apartment. That's why we chose it. But now, it's them living there, not us. They must be enjoying that room right now.
Jealous?
I shake my head in response to my husband's question. I had made up my mind when I found out about my sister-in-law's scheme. To my sister-in-law, who had been loafing around at home without working, that place must feel like heaven. But sadly for her, it's only temporary. About half a month later.
Hey, what's going on here?
It's been a while, sister. A call came from my sister-in-law.
What have you done?
What are you talking about? You didn't specify the subject, so I don't understand what you're saying. My sister-in-law then, in a flustered manner, said,
I was just told by the property manager to pack up and leave by the end of this month.
Is that what you're upset about? That makes sense, doesn't it? We're not living there, so isn't it normal to terminate the lease?
Why would you do that?
The apartment was originally in my name. If the registered person leaves the apartment, it's natural to terminate the lease. I calmly explained this to my sister-in-law, but she was so agitated that she wouldn't listen.
I don't care about that. You need to fix this now,
she exclaimed, to which I replied, well, if you become a registered person, that solves it. Oh, but be aware that the rent is $3,000 per month. Just a heads up.
$3,000?
Did you think it was much cheaper? This is the most luxurious apartment around here. There's no way it's within 3 digits. Hearing this, my sister-in-law hastily responded,
Stop joking. I can't afford $3,000.
Then you have no choice but to give up and leave.
No, I finally got this luxurious apartment. Please, lend me some money.
The nerve of her to say she got it after pushing us out. No, thank you. You wanted that place so badly that you kicked us out, so take responsibility yourself.
Wait! My parents are coming soon. What should I tell them?
Just as I thought it was none of my business, I heard a doorbell sound over the phone.
They're here already? We finally got the house appraised and sold it.
Yes, we sold the family home just as you said, so don't worry. Now we can enjoy our retirement here, right?
Yes, it's such a blessing to spend our retirement in such a luxurious apartment.
To my surprise, my in-laws had sold their family home. However, this was all orchestrated by my sister-in-law. After pushing us out, she told her parents that they wouldn't need their family home anymore because they would live here. Yet, what impeccable timing for them to arrive. She probably never dreamt that her actions would lead to this. That day, all 3 of them were evicted from the apartment. Although they were supposed to enjoy a luxurious life, they suddenly lost their home. A few days later, it seemed they were living in a shabby apartment. The money from selling their home ran out quickly due to their lifestyle, and now it seems my sister-in-law is scraping by, working day and night. On the other hand, my husband and I continue to live in our family home. We got along well with both parents and spent every day happily as a true family. Of course, I work to earn money, and my husband does the housework. This won't change for a while, because this is the happy relationship between my husband and me. If you do something terrible to someone, it will eventually come back to you. This incident was indeed a great lesson.